What's the most stressful part of making Hollywood movies?
The first sort of stressful part is just the time of it that I realized coming here, because when you're making your own stuff, you can take all the time you need, and like you can continue another day and whatever. So coming here was the first time I was working under a real schedule. And the first AD would put up all these things like this. Okay, here's the schedule for this. Is this enough? And I was like, I have no idea. I've never made a movie. Like if I was making a no-budget short, that's plenty. But yeah, then you realize how long things take with just lighting and everything. And it was very stressful just because I didn't know right away that like if we don't get this today, then this scene is out of the movie. So I would rush and like, oh, right, we made it right under the wire. But then I found out that, if you don't get it that day, you can shuffle some things around and get it another day. Or what we did on Lights Out even was we asked the studio for another 2 days or something, another day. And they were like, sure. And we could get it. So it's not like, I realized that it's more flexible than I thought it was. I thought it was very rigid. Like if you don't get this, then it's gone. So it's the stressful things have been time, and also sometimes, if you show up on set and you don't really know what you're doing, like if you haven't had time to think about a scene or something beforehand, and you show up on set, it's like, oh shit, like they want to know what we're doing, and like you don't even know, so you have to like fake it or like try to come up with stuff on the spot, which I actually kind of like doing. Like on Lights Out, since it was my first movie, I was super prepared and did all these storyboards and animatics and everything I could just to prepare. And then it never turns out that way anyway, because, the location doesn't actually allow that, or we're out of time for this, we have to come up with something on the spot. So, on Annabelle Creation, my second movie, I was like, I'm not gonna plan all that stuff. Let's just show up on the day and figure it out in the moment with like the DP and the actors. It's like, okay, let's see how it feels when you go over there, and okay, then we can put the camera here. And that was a much more pleasant experience to just having fun and figuring out on the day. But I don't think that's for everyone, because sometimes it can be a little scary when it's like you show up and you don't really know what you're doing beforehand. But I like that. And then, on Shazam, which has a lot of visual effects and big action sequences, we had to do previs, these animatics and things, which, in a movie like that, you have to do that. But again, it gets kind of boring, because once it comes time to shoot it, you've already been watching the sequence for months before in previs form. So you're already kind of tired of it. And when you're shooting, it's just like picking off the pieces. It's like you have this board set up with, okay, we're doing these frames today. And oftentimes they're very out of order, which is not fun for the actors either, because they're not really sure where they are in the process, and you're just doing these little pieces of, you do this, and then we cut, So for me, I've really leaned into and really like coming up with stuff on the day. But it's weird. It's kind of you kind of need a combination of the two. You have to plan things out, but then come up with things on the spot. It's sort of in some ways you have to do both in movies.
And how was it for you to almost stop yourself, or maybe you didn't have to, but when something needed to be moved or changed, you were maybe used to doing that yourself?
Yeah.
And then, oh, wait a minute, there are people to do that. I'm not allowed to touch that. Or
coming here, just camera stuff was like, instead of me explaining, why don't you just give me the camera and I'll do it? Or editing as well. It's like, that was kind of weird, because I'm so used to editing myself. And now it's like, can I just grab the mouse? And you can, if you want to, but you have to get comfortable with just explaining what it is you want. And sometimes, you just explain the feel you want, rather than, cut on that frame and then this frame. And then the editor can, sometimes surprise you with like, oh, that was actually cooler than I thought. But you really got that feeling that I was after. And that same thing with cinematography and acting and everything. Like it's fun when you're like, sometimes you're not too specific, and then you get surprised of like, oh, that was even better. Like, that's great.
So have you had to learn the art of delegating? Was that hard for you?
Yeah, a little bit, just because you like to have control over everything. And I mean, on Shazam especially, that was the first time working with a second unit, because on a movie like that, you have so much action and stuff that it has so much setup. Like we had this big Ferris wheel that fell down. Like that took a whole day to set up. So if main unit does that, that's all they're doing that day. So you have to have a second unit to shoot all these action-y bits. And to me, that was like, well, I want to shoot that fun stuff, And then whenever someone else is sort of directing as well, it doesn't turn out quite the way you had in mind. It was not very healthy, but on Shazam, I had it scheduled so that we'd shoot main unit during the day for a while, and then second unit would shoot during the night, so I could go to that too and sort of hang around there and make sure it turned out the way I wanted, because which is not very healthy. You need to sort of give up some control, I guess. But it's hard, because especially when it's fun, like action stuff, it's like, well, no, I want to shoot that. So I don't know. I mean, I hear some directors, like Christopher Nolan, like, yeah, he doesn't have a second unit. He wants to shoot everything, and he's Christopher Nolan, so he can do that. But yeah, I'm still working on it.